Never let anybody see you sweat. So I was born in New York City, and I lived there until I was 8 years old. I realized that I was a much better talker than I was a listener. I don't know what to say, I just don't like what you're saying.
Sorry, Your Honor.
I ended up going to law school at Georgetown, and I was a prosecutor for Janet Reno. I loved it because it was so raw. Were you cheating on her?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
All rise.
Our show will be a mixture of education, I think you're misreading the law a little bit, and entertainment. My main goal is justice and the law. That's been my legacy, and the legacy I hope to continue into the future with the show.
Julia Mason claims her son's name was misspelled on his graduation cake and reads Phyllis instead of Philip, and she wants her money back. Terry Dresdan says the plaintiff refused a partial refund and her offer to fix the cake.
All right, Ms. Mason, you are suing Ms. Dresdan for $1,300 for breach of contract. Tell me what happened.
Your Honor, I have two boys. They're twins. They just graduated from high school. And in May of 2025, I wanted to honor this milestone in their life by throwing a party with friends and family, other teachers of theirs as well. And we had about 100 guests in total. I wanted to have a cake to also celebrate the moment. So I went online, I filled out the forms, emailed it in to the bakery. I also called the bakery to confirm that they received my order for the cake.
Do you remember who you spoke to?
Yes, I spoke to the defendant.
Okay, and what did you say when you called?
You know, I introduced myself and said that this was a very important graduation for my twin boys and that I wanted to make sure she received the order.
And she said?
And she confirmed that she did, at which point we had a conversation about how she also has sons as well. And she was very excited that I chose her to bake the cake for this occasion.
Okay. Do you remember this conversation?
I have so many clients.
Yeah.
So it's a little.
All right, so what happened?
So the cake was ordered, and about a month later, I sent my nephew to go to her bakery to pick up the cake, and somebody came out and put the cake into my nephew's car. So my nephew said that the gentleman who put the cake in the car was kind of rushing him, said that, you know, he was in a hurry, he had other, you know, orders to tend to, and he had to get back inside the bakery.
Rushing him how? All the guy does is go, put the cake in the car, and say goodbye. Like, what would make your nephew feel that he was being rushed?
Maybe he was nervous because I told him it was a big event and everything had to be perfect, and...
Did your nephew check the cake?
No, Your Honor, he did not.
And then what happened?
I didn't think that was necessary for him to do that because we had had a conversation and also she had
When
online
you say we had a
forms.
conversation, in that conversation, did you discuss the names involved and the spelling involved?
The names, yes, not the spelling, specifically because there was an online form where I wrote out the message.
You discussed the names on the phone?
Yes, Your Honor, I do believe.
I don't recall that conversation.
Okay. Go on.
Once again, I'm running around with a lot of vendors and greeting people and family members and trying to help everyone get ready for this big day. And the cake is over on where it's supposed to be, and I hear giggling and snickering. I walk over and I look at the cake, and my son's name is spelled wrong. Instead of Philip, it says Phyllis. So it says... It says, "Congratulations, Phyllis and Zachary, on your graduation."
Okay.
I'm, you know.
Do you have a copy of her online form?
I do, Your Honor. It's
Okay.
Exhibit
And that
A.
would be
You should have
Defense
it.
Exhibit
A.
Let's see Defense Exhibit A.
And Your Honor, if you take a look, her writing is completely illegible. It looks to me like Phyllis. It's very clear. And who am I to say?
It's not very clear. It looks to you like Phyllis. It looks to me like Phyllis. It's not very clear.
Okay.
Congratulations, Phyllis, and then Zachary with Z-A-C-K. And that's not how Zachary spells his name. It's with an H, right? On the
Zachary
cake.
is not misspelled, Your Honor. Only
Zachary's fine?
Zachary is fine.
Oh, okay. So it's just Phyllis.
It's just Philip, yes.
Philip, I'm sorry. Right. And so People are snickering. When you say people, who are you talking about? I'm sure it's the teenagers, because parents would never snicker at that.
Yes, the other kids.
Right. And
they're taking pictures of it. Now the whole day just turns into everybody calling my son Phyllis.
Okay, so are you going to cry?
No.
Okay, it looks like you're going to cry over this, and I have to tell you, life gets so much harder than this. I mean, was your son laughing or was your son upset?
My son was upset.
Okay, well, I'd be upset if my child was upset too, but, you know. All right, you paid how much for the cake?
I paid $800 for the cake, and Exhibit B shows the credit card statement.
There's no dispute that you paid $800. What I want to know about is what is it that you signed when you sent this?
Coming up on Justice for the People.
Why do you assume what the name is and not call the person and say, I need you to send this again, or I need to know what this is, and confirm it?
I did make several attempts to call
No, she
plaintiff.
didn't.
If you'll be in the Los Angeles area and want to bring your case to court, call 1-888-552-6878. You're watching Emmy-nominated Justice for the People with Judge Milian. We're back with a case of Julia Mason, who is suing Terry Dresdan for a graduation cake mistake.
Why were you so careless? Why were you, if you wanted in cursive, why would you write that messy? Why can't you just say in cursive the following name and then write it out really, really clearly? Because you were really messy. Can we get that back up there again?
Your Honor, I'm
Just
the
a
office
second.
manager.
Let's get that back up there again. Do you see how it looks like Phyllis?
I do not. It's P-H-I-L-L. I think the second line, the letter's coming up, so no.
I'm sorry, but the last few letters.
I think it's been smudged or something.
Oh, no, that's not smudged. That's how your writing went, and that, it's not smudged because you sent it online, okay? So it's not smudged, all right? And it just wasn't clearly written. Now, let me ask you something. When you see something and it's hard to read, or it doesn't very clearly say anything, why do you assume what the name is and not call the person and say, I need you to send this again, or I need to know what this is, and confirm it?
I did make several attempts to call
No,
plaintiff,
she didn't.
and she never responded to my calls.
That's not
She
true.
doesn't strike me as the kind of person who would ignore your calls. I got to be honest with you. What proof do you have that you called her?
I can provide phone records, but I don't have
Let
them
me
here.
see them.
I don't have
Well, when
them.
are you going to provide them? You're going to come to my house and provide them?
No. Your
This is
Honor.
the trial.
Okay.
Okay?
Yes.
So now's the time that I would need
Okay.
them.
Okay.
All right? So
all of this-
according to you, you don't remember her calling you, but you remember all the times you called her.
Yes. I
So
remember
now you're
calling
telling
her.
me that it isn't very obvious what it says. Now you're telling me you called her to see what it said? Because a minute ago you were telling me it very obviously says Phyllis. Which is it?
So in my business, we're a very small business. I'm not Whole Foods. I'm not Susie Cakes. I'm a very small family-owned business. We've been in business for 10 years. I've never had anything like
I
this
asked you a
happen.
very specific question, and you're not giving me the answer to the question I asked you. What was the question I asked?
The question was, why did I not reach out to her to figure out exactly what
the
this name
question was actually beyond that.
Okay.
It's a minute ago when I was talking to you, you told me it very clearly says Phyllis. Now you're telling me, I tried calling her several times, and she never responded.
Well,
She does not strike me as the kind of person who would ignore a bunch of phone calls. She strikes me as someone who's very, no offense, I mean, she's just nervous and on it and wants everything to be perfect. She would never ignore your phone calls. So my question to you is, which is it? Does it very clearly say Phyllis? Or did you call her a bunch of times to ask her what it said? And if you called her a bunch of times to ask her what it said, what'd you do? Just take your best guess at what it should say?
So I was calling just to confirm the order. There was a month in between, and I just wanted to confirm if there were any questions that she may not have. Yes, she is a very diligent person, but she did delegate this to her nephew to come and pick up the cake. So if she was so detail-oriented, she would have come picked up the cake, and she would have looked at the cake before she took it home, which very clearly states in our binding contract.
That's what I want to see. Show me the binding contract.
There
That's
was
your
nothing
exhibit.
to
Contract.
confirm because our
Just a minute,
initial
just a minute,
conversation.
ma'am. Just a minute. There's
The
no question
binding
pending
contract
for
is
you.
Exhibit A, second page, where it clearly defines our return policy, which is no return policy.
Well, I don't care about that. I care
Okay.
if you breach a contract. She's suing you because she feels you breached a contract.
Please.
Even when there are no refunds, that doesn't mean you can't be sued because you did something wrong. What I want to know is, do you have any words anywhere about, yes, you do. Please inspect your order carefully at the time of pickup or delivery. Your satisfaction is important to us. Any concerns must be addressed immediately. You chose pickup. You sent your nephew, and you never told your nephew check the spelling on the cake?
He tried to, but it was wrapped in multiple layers of cellophane, and he didn't want to ruin the cake. He knew how important it was. So
Okay,
he
I'm
wanted
sorry.
just to get
My question
the
was,
cake.
did you tell him to check the spelling on the cake? Yes or no?
No, Your Honor, I did
so
not.
he's not going to check this. How old's your nephew? He's not going to check the. Is it,
21.
He's not going to check the. He's not going to know to do it. All right, and then.
She called me frantic from the party.
Well, of course she did.
The moment I saw the cake
Yeah,
was
okay,
wrong.
I got it. There's no question pending for you. Go ahead.
I offered her $300 for her inconvenience. I also offered to redo the cake for her.
If she brought it in.
Right, she would have to
Right,
come
but
back.
how is she, okay, but she's in the middle of a party, she's got a bunch of people there. How is she gonna get the cake? I guess she could send the 21-year-old again.
I run a lot of events. I'd make a lot
Right.
of cakes. People usually come in the morning. They don't come the moment the party starts. She literally didn't give herself any lead time. She came during the party. She sent a 21-year-old with no instructions to bring the cake.
How long before the party did you send the 21-year-old?
I believe it was about an hour prior because
That is really cutting it close. But
I
anyway,
did
so,
not
I mean,
want
what
the
if he has,
cake.
what's he gonna do? Bring in the cake, the
I wanted
21-year-old?
the cake to be fresh.
Oh, no, honey, the cake was made in the morning. The cake is, the cake's gotta get fresher by being there instead of here. That's not how cakes work, you know?
You know, I feel for her, but I did.
Yeah, but I gotta tell you
could.
something. You're talking like this is all her fault. Yes, I see the contract. Yes, it says you need to bring this to our attention at time of pickup or delivery.
Right.
So let's say I had picked delivery and I bring it up to your attention. Who's gonna fix the cake at that point?
Well, Jeff, who delivers the cake,
Okay, can fix it?
can fix it.
Right. Now, how far is the cake place from the venue?
About 20 minutes.
Coming up.
There is a really easy way to get around this, and that is that you, in writing, send to her, please type in the names of your children because your handwriting is hard to read.
You're watching Emmy-nominated Justice for the People with Judge Milian. We're back with a case of Julia Mason, who is suing Terry Dresdan for a graduation cake mistake.
And so if you sent your nephew an hour before, and the cake is there an hour before, what did you go check it to make sure it said the right thing?
The moment I saw everybody giggling and
So
snickering.
guests were already there. So the answer is that in the, say, half hour between, you didn't check.
Friends and family members and some teachers
I got
wanted
it.
to show up
I got
early
it.
to
So
help.
then you hear people snickering, and then you see what it is. And can I see a picture of the cake?
Yes.
There we go. All right. Is it written on a piece of fondant, or is it on the round fondant itself, I guess?
Well,
in other
we
words, is
have
it a plaque or is it not?
It's a plaque
Yeah.
that can be removed.
It can or it can't?
I mean, you can remove the icing. We have a special tool that removes the icing, and then we can just rewrite it on top of that.
Right.
It's a beautiful cake, Your Honor.
No, it is. It's a magnificent cake, but it says Phyllis and Zachary. Right? And
Who am I to judge? Honestly, she could have named her son Phyllis.
right, except she didn't.
Why?
And what worries me is, whenever these things come up, and it's obviously, the pen just doesn't even do the last letters.
There's a lot of cake fails out there. I wouldn't say this was a cake
This was a
fail.
cake fail. That's because you're not Philip, okay?
Well,
because if you're Philip or Philip's mother, you think it's a cake fail.
Coming up.
And just make her type it back to you. And you, I cannot tell you how messy your handwriting is. That doesn't look like Philip.
You're watching Emmy-nominated Justice for the People with Judge Milian. We're back with a case of Julia Mason, who is suing Terry Dresdan for a graduation cake mistake.
Okay, because if you're Philip or Philip's mother, you think it's a cake fail.
We make mistakes.
Okay,
People-
I'm going to be the judge of that.
Okay, I'm
That's
sorry.
why we're here.
Okay.
Okay? I think that what you should have done is you should have made it really clear if it wasn't clear. You tell me, I called her several times. She tells me you're making that up. There is a really easy way to get around this, and that is that you, in writing, send to her, please type in the names of your children because your handwriting is hard to read. How hard is that? And then we're all sure. Instead of phone calls you can't prove, and just make her type it back to you. And you, I cannot tell you how messy your handwriting is. That doesn't look like Philip. If you're going to write, when I write for a cake or for engraving, I write letters that look like type, and then I write, please do it in cursive next to it. And I don't even do that because sometimes I'm really worried their cursive isn't going to look like what I want it to look like. But
Your Honor, that's why I
I'm
also
sorry.
called her
Did I breathe and give you the impression I was done speaking?
I'm sorry, Your Honor.
All right. Now, you served that cake there, didn't you?
Yes.
So people ate your $800 cake.
Yes.
All right. But you are coming to court and you're suing not just for the $800. You're also suing for an additional $500 for what? Pain and suffering because it was embarrassing to your son. Your son needs to have a better sense of humor about stuff because life is going to get a lot harder.
Judge Milian's verdict when justice for the people returns. You're watching Emmy-nominated Justice for the People with Judge Milian.
This is a breach of contract case. There is no pain and suffering in a breach of contract case. It's just the contract. So that's issue number one. Issue number two, I find fault with the way both of you handled this. You, because your writing is super messy instead of making it real clear. And you, because you didn't clarify it and just took it as Phyllis. I also, though, have to take into account that you literally had the instruction that you have to check it there. And you didn't. You didn't. That's the contract you're asking me to enforce, the contract you signed. You didn't send them with the instruction to check it, and then they offered to fix it, but you said, well, I'm not bringing it over there. And it's very clear from what they're saying that either at the time of delivery or at the time of pickup, because they're already there, they can fix it quickly. How often has this happened to you?
Never.
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 So let me ask you a question. There wasn't one person who could go to their house and fix it just as a measure of goodwill?
This is a really busy time for us.
Okay, your contract doesn't require you to. I'm just asking because that would have been such a nice gesture, you know?
I
All right.
Yeah, but the contract requires
The contract requires you to check it at the time of pickup, and you didn't, and they're not coming to you. They did exactly what they need to do, which is to say to you, bring the cake back and we'll fix it. That is what the contract requires. You did not abide by the contract. I am not going to order them to refund any money. You should have taken her offer of the $300 just as a goodwill gesture that she had offered. Verdict for the defendant.
All rise.
Judge Milian has ruled in favor of the defendant. The plaintiff's claim is dismissed.
You should have checked the cake yourself before it left your bakery.
I'm sorry that you feel that way. You know, you need to raise a stronger child.
Bullying is not
All right,
okay.
Patch your day in court. Exit this way, please. Make sure you grab all of your belongings.
This has been a production of Allen Media Group.